please welcome Simon from Austria as well, another speaker from Austria.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here today at Rockit and that I can welcome you to my talk today about redesigning organizations and how to stay competitive in a post-crisis world. So let's start off and ask the question, why is it something important nowadays or exactly now to redesign the business? And I think a lot of you experienced the repercussions or are still experiencing the repercussions of the COVID-19 crisis. But the business world nowadays is driven by those four categories. Namely, we're living in an environment which is very uncertain and where there's also often a lot of chaos. Meaning we cannot predict what is happening in the next 5 years. We cannot even predict how a business will look like in 1 year. So that has huge implications how to design the business. Secondly, there is fast change. And this is something which requires companies to react quickly and to figure out what to do next, to experiment, to innovate, to just stay ahead of the curve. Thirdly, the needs of the people, of the society, and even like of the entire planet are changing or are at least more heard or need to be more heard by companies. And lastly, we experience a huge impact of emerging technologies. Why is that so special right now and not 10 years ago? Because at this moment in time, we have 20 Gutenberg moments, meaning 20 emerging technologies, which are hitting us at the same time, like artificial intelligence, blockchains, drones, nanotechnology, 3D printing, you name it. And all those technologies are converging and accelerate themselves, meaning we are really on a stage where we have never been before, and this will drastically change businesses and society. And if we then look at a very interesting statement from David S. Ross, who said any company designed for success in the 20th century is doomed to failure in the 21st century. And I think if we look now, just the last few months, the companies which are struggling the most are the ones who were not able to offer the services, the products on a digital way. And if we look closer at the main reasons or the pitfalls for organizations, why they fail, we can summarize them in 3 categories. So first of all, there's the lack of focus or the lack of purpose. What do I mean by that? A lot of companies have forgotten what is the reason for their being. Why do they exist? They just see it as a tool to make profit, but they don't know the reason anymore behind it. And this has huge implications about employee engagement, about customers who cannot really get behind the company, about how these companies are perceived by their stakeholders. And secondly, they are not aligning their activities because they have no clear focus. So they're doing here something and there something, but it's not aligned to one bigger purpose. Secondly, ignoring customers, employees, and society's needs. The needs are changing fast, and we could already experience now in the COVID crisis that customers are requesting something different from companies, and this trend will improve or even increase. So we have to think about what value do we really provide to our customers, what do our employees want? What do our customers want? What does society want? And how can we deliver? It's not enough anymore to have a product and that's it. What is the greater impact we can do? And lastly, the inability to deal with the unexpected. A lot of the reasons out there can be summarized by the inability to deal with the unexpected. We are built, or companies are built to be robust, resistant, but this does not work anymore. So we really have to find an organizational structure which allows us to be adaptive, flexible, and react quickly. And that's where exponential organizations come in. So in the last years, we could see a new kind of organizations. And those organizations are exponential organizations. What is the definition of an exponential organization? An exponential organization is an organization that is purpose-driven and is leveraging those emerging technologies and 10 unique attributes to generate 10 times the impact than traditional companies do. So let's have a closer look what those 10 attributes actually are. So above all is the massive transformative purpose. It's like the reason for being, and it's the North Star for the company. And then we have 5 attributes which allows them to tap into abundance and scale rapidly. And those 5 attributes are staff on demand. A good example there is Uber. They don't own any employees, even for mission critical stuff. Secondly, community and crowd. Very good example there is TED. We are now living in a world where 4 billion people are connected with the internet, and it's going to rise tremendously in the next upcoming years. And we have to stop thinking in the boundaries of an organization. Even if we're a large corporation, let's say 50,000 people, it's only such a tiny percentage from all the talents which are out there. So how can we connect with communities that are behind, that share our purpose and can leverage that to our advantage? Then algorithms. I think I don't have to say a lot about this. It's really about becoming a data-driven company, thinking about what kind of manual processes you can automatize and move forward. Then we have leveraged assets. Leveraged assets, a very good example here is Airbnb. They are the biggest global hotel chain without owning any hotel. And this allows them to scale rapidly. The cost for adding an additional hotel is basically zero. And leveraged assets can either be physical things, digital things, or even human things. And last in the scale attribute side is engagement. So there is really the question, how can we engage with our customers? How can the customers or the community and crowd engage with us as a company? And once we have those scale attributes, we have to somehow manage the scale internally. And there is where the other 5 attributes are coming in. So we have to have like an interface, which is basically the connection between the outside and the inside. Where does the information, where does the data meet, in which kind of place, and how can we transfer the knowledge out of it? Dashboards. We have to become data-driven and also measure and find valuable KPIs in real time. So we always have to know, all the employees have to know what is our current status and are we going into the right direction. Thirdly, experimentation. Experimentation is key in today's world. If so many things are changing quickly and we cannot predict anything, if we want to stay ahead of the curve, we have to test, experiment, and innovate. And it's not enough that we just have a small team. We have to think outside of the boundaries again, include our communities, think big, and empower all the employees and all the community to actually take part in achieving your massive transformative purpose. Then we have autonomy. Autonomy is really about empowering the people to make a difference, to make a dent in the universe, to take responsibility, to take decisions, and to lead ahead. It's again here. It's really about the idea why you're starting to work at a company. It's drastically changing with the new generation. They want to contribute to make a difference in the world, and they also need empowered to do so. And lastly, social technologies. I think this part, a lot of companies now discovered with the COVID crisis, if it's Trello, if it's Slack, if it's Microsoft Teams, there's a lot of technologies out there which allow smooth information flow and being in touch with all the employees without any physical boundaries. And today I would like to go and shortly discuss 4 of them. Why those 4? I think those give a little bit of a contrast to the technological world out there, and include the people and the creativity and the human side of any business. So on the one hand, we have to become technology driven, but on the other hand, we also need to think about the people and how we can create a better impact, a big impact, positive impact for society, for the world, and get the people behind our cause and do something good. And that's why I chose those 4 attributes to discover now. So let's start with the massive transformative purpose. So what is an MTP? An MTP is really a new paradigm which is bigger than just a mission statement. It's a highly aspirational tagline, and it tries to solve a global issue. And if you look closer what an MTP is, you could say an MTP is your North Star of your company. The North Star really allows you to focus on what matters and filters out ideas or activities, let's say activities, which are not in line with your purpose. So done correctly, it is something which inspires and aspires people, employees, and attracts a community and crowd behind your purpose. And it's all about achieving a positive impact in the world. It changes the status quo for the better. It changes the world for the better. And why is this so important, and how do you actually start coming up with an MTP? So it's important because we need to have the focus I mentioned earlier. The companies need to find a way to focus their activities on what matters. And on the other hand, we need to inspire the people, and make it possible for them to contribute to something positive and change the world for the better. And how do you actually come up with such an MTP? So it's like an iterative process, and it starts with questioning. So you could start, for example, by asking yourself, what would we do if you would receive $1 billion today, and why? Or what would the world look like once your MTP has been achieved? Or what does the world really hunger for, and why? And what do we really care about, and why? And those start a thinking process, and with more and more practice, you will get to a statement which is really making you a little bit scared, maybe because it's so big and you might not ever achieve it. But it's clearly the thing why your employees, why your company, why you are getting to work at 6 in the morning. And this kind of process starts with the questioning, and it takes a lot of time until you reach a statement. But what is important to know is that the statement alone is not enough. Then to aligning all the activities and to communicating the statement to all the stakeholders and living it, that's where the true transformation happens. And here is like an example about Elon Musk's initiatives. So Solar City, for example, the MTP is pioneering the future of energy, Tesla pioneering the future of automobiles, and SpaceX pioneering the future of space travel. So the next attribute is community and crowd. And a community is a group of people who are passionate about a cause, and they collaborate to solve big challenges. And if you think about great example is, for example, TEDx or GitHub. And why is a community so important? A community amplifies the ideation, and it helps you to validate and come up with new ideas. So as I said earlier, you have to think outside of the boundaries of your organization. And the community is something very close to your user base. And if they share the same purpose, you can leverage it dramatically to gain new ideas, gain new insights, even contribute to some of your projects and get outside knowledge into the company. It drives exponential growth. If you think about TEDx, they would not be there if they would not have opened it up to the community. And with their MTP, ideas worth spreading, they're really empowering everyone to share their ideas, and it become a global movement. And it increases loyalty and helps to find high talented people who already share your purpose. And how do you get started then? You have to have an MTP in place. And once you have an MTP in place, you can use it to attract and engage employees, customers, but outside people like the community and crowd. And then for those people, for a small group, always start with a test group, and try to build trust and develop relationships with them. Always with the mind, or having in mind that you're tapping into already existing communities or building your own with people who are sharing your message transformative purpose. And and the next step is then you have to nurture the community. It's like a peer-to-peer relationship. You have to give something and they give something back. Don't start a community with the thinking, what do I want from the community? Start with the thinking, what can I give to the community? And they can then provide something back. Then you have to create a platform for all your adapters so the exchange can happen. And after that is done and you gain some further insights, and you're sure that the MTP works out, the community and crowd has like a well-established process and an interface, take the platform public. That's about the community and crowd. And now I would like to shortly just touch base on engagement, because engagement is something very important to find out how you can engage with customers, or how can the customers engage with you. And there's a lot of tools or methods out there. For example, gamification. Duolingo is a very good example of that, how to gamify a learning experience. You can also have raffles or prizes that encourage people to share their ideas. For example, XPRIZE is an amazing company where they really have a price tag on solving global challenges. And this allows you the engagement, or if you combine that with the community, it allows the company to generate new ideas, to find more innovative solutions, and to build loyalty among your customers. So I just wanted to make a short introduction to the engagement attribute. And last but not least, experimentation. So we really must continuously run experiments and to find out and learn how to best evolve. Get out of the building, tap into your community and crowd, and try to find new ideas and new solutions. In this fast-changing world where we cannot predict anything, we have to become the one who are making the change. And when we're not running any experiments, when we're not trying to innovate, we will be behind our competitors. And what is most important, and a lot of companies are getting that wrong, is that experimentation needs a process. Why is that the case? Because without a process, you can neither measure the impact of your experiments, if it's good, if it's bad, the learnings, and you just lose track on what is important and if it's still in line with your purpose. And the most important is the most simple one is the measure, learn, and build cycle, which is also mentioned in the Lean Startup Thinking book. So how does that work? You have to ask yourself some important guiding questions, like, are we continually growing and improving based on results, or are we not looking at the results at all? Have we defined a flexible process for capturing and leveraging new knowledge? And last but not least, is experimentation a core value in our organization? Are we living organization, or is it just something we are doing sometimes? That being said, these are all the 10 attributes of an EXO. I now just highlighted 4 of them. I mentioned the other ones in the beginning. And by implementing those attributes, your company or your organization really becomes flexible, adaptive. It is connected with abundance, it's connected with the outside, and allows you to scale rapidly while also tapping into emerging technologies and building your business model around it. So I hope you found that valuable. If you have any further question or would like to chat with me, please just write me on LinkedIn. So my name is Simon Nopp, and you will find me there and just shoot me a message. So thanks for that. And I would like to close with one last statement by Alan Kay, who said, "The best way to predict the future is to invent it." Thank you very much.